Once upon a time, in a land maybe not so far away, there lived a sheep. This sheep had a little dream. One could call it a wish, just a tiny one. But it seemed so impossible that they feared that there was no way they could ever achieve it, especially not on their own. Thankfully, this little sheep had a friend called Lamb who imparted to them a secret that was known to very little individuals.
Deep within the forest groves, there was a hidden shrine that held a marble statue of the great goddess Ovidia. According to the legends, if someone of pure and kind intent prayed sincerely to the great goddess, she would grant their wish, no matter big or small. Despite being initially skeptical of their own ability to navigate the directions to said hidden shrine, the little sheep faithfully followed Lamb's instructions and eventually stumbled upon the grove. The grove was sheltered, but small. The undergrowth was covered with a blanket of white flowers that made the little sheep a little wary of stepping on them. But as Lamb had promised, at the far edge of the grove stood a little dilapidated-looking shrine, and in the center of it stood a pristine statue of an ethereal beauty.
That must be the statue of goddess Ovidia that Lamb was talking about! She's so beautiful!
Why, thank you, little one.
With a sudden flash, the great goddess suddenly materialized before her own statue, shocking the sheep.
Oh dear, my apologies. I didn't mean to scare you. My darling Lamb told me that you were coming to see me.
Lamb told you I was coming?
Indeed. She also mentioned that you have a request for me.
The great goddess Ovidia looked expectantly at the nervous-looking sheep. After a few moments, the sheep quietly began to recite their request.
Will you be able to help me?
I don't see why I cannot.
Yay!
However, for me to fulfill your request, you will need to help me obtain 5 items from across the land.
With a swift snap of her fingers, a scroll magically appeared in her hand, and a backpack was suddenly summoned before the little sheep's nose.
Here, in this you will find the directions to the 5 items I require to fulfill your request. Bring them back to me, and I will make your wish come true.
With only a mild sense of trepidation, the sheep accepted the scroll.
Golden weed from the fields of marbles, emerald canes from the seahorse springs, ruby red fruit from the glittering caves, amber potion from the mansion of Mata Forgana,
And young Nai from the Boobyfoo Mountain.
This is a lot. This is a lot for a small sheep like me. What if I can't find all of the items?
I'm sure you will, little one. Have faith. You want me to grant your wish, do you not?
Of course I do! It's a very important wish after all.
Then I am certain you will find a way to manage. Perhaps you might even find a few friends along the way. With the map in hand, the little sheep began their journey into obtaining the 5 items requested by the goddess. Initially, the little sheep experienced no trouble harvesting the golden wheat and emerald canes. However, when it came to the ruby red fruits, they were suddenly faced with a new problem.
The ruby red fruits came from the ruby red tree that grew within the depths of the glittering caves. The darkness was no issue, for there were plenty of sparkling lights in the caves. But how were they supposed to collect fruits from a tall tree when they were only just a little sheep, all on their lonesome? The answer came to them in the form of a rather sad-looking sheep, loitering about the entrance of the caves.
Excuse me? Are you alright? Why are you crying?
I have a dream, but I have just realized
It might just be an impossible dream.
What sort of dream would that be?
Have you ever heard of the ruby red fruits? They grow in a cave, not a stone's throw away from here.
I've heard of them.
Well, I want to grow big and strong. They say that the ruby red fruits can help me grow faster. But only if I have the potential to grow. And, well, I've been told that this is as big as I'll ever get. Not to mention, I'm far too short to even pick the fruits of the ruby red tree.
To be perfectly honest, the little sheep couldn't see anything particularly strange with the short sheep's size. If anything, the short sheep was just about as big as the little sheep too, which could be considered small, perhaps, but if put together...
Why don't you come with me? I'm on a quest to fetch 5 items for the great goddess Ovidia, and the ruby red fruit is one of them. If you help me pick some fruits, you can have some to eat too. And if they don't help you grow any bigger, maybe you can ask the great goddess Ovidia to help you grow bigger too.
Can she do that?
I've heard that she can do anything, and she's really nice and pretty too. If you ask her nicely, she'll try her best to help you.
And so off they went together into the glittering caves. They oohed and ahed at the sights of the many twinkling gems and rocks, and eventually came across the distinct red glow emanating from the not-so-dark depths. In the distance was the fabled ruby red tree. Its pearlescent leaves shifted between pink to scarlet tones as they rustled to a non-existent wind. Delicious-looking fruits hung between the color-changing fronds. These were the fruits that they were looking for. There was, however, a problem.
That's a monster. It's covered in so much blood. What are we supposed to do now?
Of course, they could have just given up at that moment, but that wouldn't be good plot writing, now would it? Of course not. The little sheep was very intent on completing their quest, and so they put on their bravest face and bellowed.
Surrender those ruby red fruits, and we will not harm you, beast!
Who are you calling a beast? Can a sheep enjoy some fruits these days without being called names?
And so, with their vicious beast defeated, and the ruby red fruits in their backpacks and stomachs, the now trio of sheep carried on their merry way to the next location on the list, the cursed mansion of Mata Forgana.
Do you think I can have a swig of that amber potion once we get a hold of it?
Only after we give it to goddess Ovidia. What if she needs the whole bottle?
You really like your food, don't you?
As they approached the allegedly cursed mansion, they noticed a woolly figure clad in a maid's apron and cap, vigorously sweeping the front steps of the building. The maid sheep appeared very focused on their task, but immediately whirled around at them as soon as the flock approached.
No! Get off my steps! I just swept it, and now I must sweep it again!
Is this the mansion of Mata Forgana, where the fabled amber potion can be found?
Yes. And what about it?
We need it for our quest! Will you be able to spare the bottle?
No.
No?
I need it to drink my sorrows away. Do you know I've been cursed? I've been cursed to clean this damn house, and that potion is my only saving grace.
Does your curse require you to stay within the house?
I don't know. I've never tried.
Then why don't you join us? We need the amber potion for the great goddess Ovidia. Perhaps she can break your curse for you.
Do you think she'll really be able to break my curse?
She's helping me with mine, so I'm sure she'll try her best if you ask nicely.
With the amber potion in hand, the now flock of 4 proceeded into their last location, the Boobful Mountains, where they hoped they would find the mysterious young Nai. Despite having started the journey feeling anxious that they would not be able to acquire the rarer items, the little sheep no longer felt fear. With their newly acquired comrades, no challenge would be too difficult. And if it was difficult, it would be worth it in the long run.
Yum.
Eventually, they reached the Boobyful Mountains. There, they encountered the shepherd, a mysterious figure who spoke little. Despite his rough and slightly stinky appearance, his eyes were fun as the 4 sheep approached them. He wordlessly offered them the crate of young Nai by his feet. What's the catch?
The shepherd shook his head, as if to say, there is none. But for all they knew, the man might not have been able to understand them. They were sheep, and he was human after all. It was easy to take the last and final ingredient and go off on their way. But the little sheep had one question to ask.
Why don't you join us? You look lonely here.
Again, the shepherd stayed silent before pointing at his sign, before gesturing for them to move on. It was as if he was trying to say that he had to stay in order to give young Nai to the next sheep that might come around. With that, the 4 sheep departed, this time towards their final destination, the goddess's shrine within the forest. The great goddess Ovidia was already waiting for them by the time they returned to her shrine. Welcome back, little one. I see you've brought the items I asked for, as well as some friends.
We have something to ask of you.
I wish to grow bigger and stronger.
I wish to eat really delicious foods.
I wish for you to break my cleaning curse.
I see that you do. But there is this one request I have already heard. Perhaps we should see it through first. I suppose I will need a little time.
This might be impolite to ask, but can we, clean your shrine for you, O great goddess? I'm not saying that it's atrociously messy, even though it is, but...
Well, that's an excellent idea. And in return, I'll see what I can do to help you once I've finished granting the little sheep's wish.
And so, while the goddess began her final preparations with the 5 items that she requested, the 4 sheep hurriedly cleaned her shrine with cleaning equipment that the maid sheep magically had on hand. They dusted fallen leaves and twigs from steps of the shrine, repaired holes in the roof tiling, and polished the great goddess statue until it shone. The once dilapidated shrine looked brand new when the goddess finally returned.
Goddess Ovidia, is that?
Cake!
A black forest ghetto. It is part of what you asked for, yes?
Yes, Goddess Ovidia! It looks more wonderful than I imagined!
Well, there's only one last thing to do, isn't there?
But what was the little sheep's wish? But why did they want the cake? I want to come with you and talk. Oh, that looks like the great goddess's shrine, doesn't it? Can we go in? Please? Do you think the great goddess lives here? Wooden plagues? And the goddess will grant them? That's funny. These ones say the same thing that Short Sheep, Bleep Bleep, and Maid Sheep wished for in the storybook. Well, if the goddess could grant Little Sheep's wish, I'm sure she can do the same for others too.